Sure, here you go. This is Joe, by the way. They can see you.
Okay, so Dawn had a tumor on her brain stem that had to be removed. It was causing a mass. It was cutting off the circulation. She's been in a hospital for 8 days. They did the surgery Tuesday, so then she's in Wednesday. So now she's in recovery. Motor skills are coming back. Speech. Uh, she can see. She can comprehend, which is good. So, we're taking it now. The surgery is done, but that was what was causing her nausea, her vertigo, that she's been dealing with for a couple of months now. She's been in a lot of pain. But now the first hurdle is over, and now we on the road to recovery. So she didn't abandon anybody. So
Really know. I don't know where to begin because it feels like the beginning was only yesterday, and the beginning was a beginning of something that I never thought I'd be able to live through, to survive, or to learn from. And here I am, a year later. Is everything back to the way it was before? No, it's not. I've been on so many different courses with this journey that I have given up so many times and have said that I couldn't go on, and that the more that I was given the challenges and the more that things happened to me during the course of a year of time with the recovery of my surgeries, and I say that as in plural because it was 3 separate surgeries I've had within the course of the year, starting in October of 2022 and ending August of this year. The first surgery had to do with the lesion that was found in my cerebral stem, which was a non-malignant tumor and had to be removed. I was in the hospital for approximately 7 days before they even had the surgery, and then I was in the hospital for another 15 days. In total, I was in the hospital from October 6th to October 31st. You can do the math. And I wasn't aware of what was going on because when I arrived at the hospital the first time that I can remember, I didn't know that it was going to be this entire journey of health. I thought it was just, I got sick and it wasn't good, but it wasn't this severe. And I can't tell you that I remember what it was like to hear that I had a tumor because I completely blacked out that entire time that I arrived there. I can tell you, and I can show you some footage from after the surgery, of course, when I got out, and I was still on painkillers and steroids. It was a harsh reality, especially when I knew that my brain had undergone a really serious situation. And I thought I was going to wake up bald. But what I did wake up with is the realization that things would never be the same again, at least not for a while. And as you can see, I have facial palsy, which I woke up with from that time on, and it has only improved slightly since the last 2 surgeries after the fact. The scariest thing was knowing I had to go home at some point, and I had to live with this every day and to relearn the things that I took for granted. Simply eating and going to the bathroom and getting dressed and walking and things of that nature, I didn't know I was going to struggle with, but all of those things were an everyday task. I did receive a little bit of home care, not much. I was kind of one of those people that wanted to do everything on her own, including when I left the hospital. I was still stubborn, still thinking that I was going to do everything and not need anybody. And that was true to a certain extent. And I remember coming back on Halloween of all days and just going right to it. I needed to get back to me immediately. And for the better part of between October to December, that's what I tried to do. And I pushed myself. And what ended up resulting of that is early December, I started to get a really intense pain, worse than I was getting from the frontal headaches I was getting. I was getting an intense pain, and I noticed that I was getting a pocket of fluid that started to become bigger. By the time I alerted my doctors, the small little golf ball had turned into an avocado. And lo and behold, it was time for yet surgery number 2. This surgery happened the beginning of January, the beginning when you think you're starting a new year, and here we are back in the same hospital again. And this time it was to drain the fluid, to remove whatever was going on. And because of the way the fluid was releasing, I needed to control it. So they needed to install a shunt, which I will show you on the screen what that is. So on this side of my head, my brain, they went in and they went back. They opened up that little incision that was closed and took out the fluid that was accumulating. And that was excruciating. And it wasn't the end of the story as I was hoping, because there were so many more things to follow. the worrying about the shunt and if it was working properly, the ongoing pain that was still going on from the brain surgery that still wasn't healed, and now recovery was pushed back another 3 to 6 months because, yes, we had another surgery. Going through that was scary and mentally debilitating. It felt like my world was over and I didn't know how to get back to life again. Was I ever going to be able to go back to work? Was I ever going to be able to leave my house? Was I ever going to be able to look at myself in the mirror without crying? And the answers to those questions at the time were no. No, you weren't. Because throughout the recovery, I started to have such horrible anxiety, and my stress levels were skyrocketing, and I was trying to fight through them, and I wasn't doing well.
It's because this is what I've been hiding for so long, because I feel so ugly.
So, luckily, through my father's daughter, I was able to find another therapist, and this therapist specializes in trauma. Now, I had been through therapy, you guys know this, over the years with so many different people over so many different things. This was so much more intense and so much different because it wasn't just about talking about, depression or anxiety. This was talking about everything in my life that was flashing before my eyes, things that were changing, things that were so deeply enrooted into me that I wasn't overcoming on my own. I didn't recognize myself. I was a child again. I turned into a little child crying out and not knowing where this was going to lead. I was afraid of my demise so many times. So thankfully I met this wonderful therapist, and I'm still seeing her today, and I really am glad and grateful for her. She's really amazing. And there's a lot of things that I've learned to realize throughout the process of this whole thing. But lo and behold, the story of this wasn't over after surgery number 2, because after surgery number 2, when we thought this was all fixed up, I started to have a scar back here open up, and that started right after the shunt surgery. And I also started to experience stiffness in my neck that was not going away after this said surgery. And the anxiety, the stiffness, the anger, the pain, the discomfort, the difficulties, all were just getting the better of me. I kept telling the surgeons about all of this discomfort in my neck, and they kept telling me that, it was part of the recovery, or I needed to get, more tests and more MRIs, and I'm not even going to go down the list of waiting and the things I had to go through just to get to said tests. It turned out that the pain, the stress, the neck tension that I was complaining about since January turned into yet another situation, which ended up being surgery number 3. And this time, it had to do with my cervical lumbar area, or my spine, where I had a cyst that was pressing up against my spine, causing it to curve and causing my lower part of my body to weaken and numb, where I couldn't walk. I couldn't straighten up. I was not balanced. I was like a broken doll. And that was probably the scariest of the three. So back to the hospital I went. And number 3 was an easier surgery, but harder to comprehend because now it had to do with the lower part of my body that wasn't affected before. Now I had no feeling in my top half, no feeling in my legs or in my toes. My feet would go cold, they would turn purple. The surgery happened in August. I was there for approximately a week. And with this surgery, I felt a lot more calmer and a lot more content than I had the previous 2 surgeries. But it was still surgery and it was still frightening. And so we come to present day. I currently am in physical therapy, something that I didn't do up until this point. And you'll see some footage of that.
Yeah, the hospital. One of them was very, very against it. The other one did not care at all. Straight ahead.
I'm not where I want to be, but I am better than I started. And I can say that I know so many things about life that I wasn't willing or ready to face until it happened. And the reality of it all really is that we only have one life and we have one body that we're given and one brain. And those things are so precious and so rare. They're gifts, and we have to treat them as such. And I didn't do that. I wasn't doing that. I was running myself through so many different obstacle courses, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, you name it. That it's a year later, and this is part of the process of me trying to heal emotionally, because I couldn't do this a year ago. I couldn't get on camera. I couldn't put my face out there unless I was in pain or I just was not in a good place in my head. And I will tell you that that's happened way too many times that I like to admit. To go down the road of not knowing if the light will ever come back to you is something that I don't ever want to take for granted again. Because today I am still breathing and still living and I'm still recovering. And no matter how much my brain will tell me it's not enough, it's not fast enough, you're not doing the right things, you're failing, I'm not going to listen. I'm just going to act. Because that's what I know how to do. I know how to just go and do, even when it was hard. And I put myself, my family, the doctors, I put them through some strife. But throughout this whole thing, I knew I was my authentic self, doing what I haven't done in so long, in 52 years of my life. And that's allowing myself to care about what was happening, to let it process, to let it do what it needed to do, and to come out of it and to learn what was being told to me. Is it perfect a year later? No, it's not. But it's a lot better than it started. And I just wanted to give you guys that update to let you know I'm still here and still fighting. And your support and your love and your messages and all of the encouragement was always such a great thing. And I wanted to say that in a video.
Dawn, oh hi Dawn. How you doing? Joey here. I'm just teasing you. I hope you're doing well. Obviously you're not here and I'm fucking pissed off. I'm very upset that you're not here. I'm sad that you're not here, but I know you need to get well and get better. I hope everything's all right and you're on a fast road to recovery. But I just want to still tell you that you are a pain in my ass still, but I love you. All right? So we want to wish you well.
We love you. We miss you.
We love you, miss you. Sorry you're not here, but I love busting your chops and I'm going to keep doing it. So love you. Bye.
I wanted to say that in a video to you all and to all of you to just remember you're only given one life and treat it as such. Be good to each other and be good to yourself.